So, a friend of mine recently showed me a really easy loot farm in Arc Raiders that has been yielding a lot of high value items very consistently. That includes all the usual stuff you might expect: epic tier items, rare quality weapons, and whatnot. But for whatever reason, this location, for me anyway, has been yielding a ton of blueprints. Almost every run I've done has given at least one blueprint, sometimes a few. Again, your RNG may vary, but IMO, it's been a really fruitful looting location. Also, this area does contain a really good loot cheese, basically breaking into an area that you need a card for, which we will go over. But even without that cheese, still an incredibly good area for loot farming. And I do know that shining a light on this quasi-secret location will probably draw out a lot of "how dare you tell people about this place" kind of comments, but whatever. If you're a relatively new player and you're trying to expand your blueprint collection, I hope today's video helps you. Okay, the loot location is on the Blue Gate map, and oddly enough, it is not a yellow or red marked location on the map. It is very much off-grid. There's a few ways into the underground area, but the entry point I most often go for is right here. When you get close enough, you'll notice that a new icon will appear that looks kind of like a staircase. Head into the building and take the zipline down to the bottom floor. When you're down here, there's a nearby locker that sometimes has okay stuff, but you really want to head to the big door in the back of the room and head on in. Now, while the entire underground facility is the looting area, there are 3 key areas in particular that usually have all the best stuff. Technically 4 if we're including the loot cheese area, which again I will go over at the very end of the video after covering the 3 main areas. If you have enough time, you should definitely try and loot the entire area, but if you want to keep things short, just stick to the 3 key areas, which I'll go over right now. Here's how to get to area number 1, which is quick, easy, and usually has great stuff. Following the blue line on the floor into the facility until you see that it eventually becomes both a red line and a blue line together. Right before hitting that blue and red line, turn to your left. There should be a door there with yellow markings on it. Go straight through that doorway into a room, and there should be a small breachable door at the back right of that room. Breach that door, and this is area number 1, a small locker room that, again, knock on wood, usually has pretty good items. Don't forget the lootable containers down on the floor, including this one right here, and sometimes this smaller container down here. Next up is area number 2, which usually isn't as good as area number 1, but you're already here, so why not go there? It's actually kind of a weird little mini game, starting from when you enter the facility. If you follow the blue line until it becomes the blue and red line, look around the concrete pillars and you should find this: a small table with a little computer terminal on it. Activate the terminal and wait a few seconds. Keep an eye on the monitor because it's going to be flashing white for a couple seconds, but then eventually it will show you a color, either red, blue, or yellow. Whatever color it shows you, follow the matching color symbols that are painted onto the wall. In this example, we are going to follow red because that is what I saw on the monitor. Again, you're not necessarily following the lines on the floor, but the colored markings painted onto the wall. For red, I go left up the staircase, then follow the other red marking on the wall to the right. Eventually, you will find a painted X on the floor and a lootable container right next to it. To repeat, that location usually doesn't have crazy loot, but again, might as well check it if you're in the area. To repeat, if you do the minigame and it shows you a different color, again, just follow the markings on the wall to the lootable container. You will be fine. Area number 3 is a little bit of a chore to unlock, but the rewards are usually well worth it. When following the blue line on the floor into the facility, you may notice this door on your left. Area 3 is behind that door, but you won't be able to open it until you find a panel on the wall somewhere in the underground area that looks like this. It contains 3 different batteries that you can straight up pull right out of the wall. Here's the tricky part. I can't tell you exactly where the battery location is because it's RNG. I've heard there are up to 4 locations where they can be. Thankfully, the facility isn't too huge, so just by roaming around for a little bit, you're likely to stumble onto them sooner or later. If you wind up wandering too far and blatantly leaving the facility, turn around and head back in. It should be obvious when you're leaving the area. When you've found the battery location, you need to take them all out and hand deliver them one at a time all the way over to area number 3 and plug them each into the wall right by the door. If you get lost, again, just follow the blue line on the floor to get to the door. When you've plugged in all 3 batteries, open the door to the red room and happy looting. Very important stuff down here. I usually head to the very back of the room and open the weapon chest right away. Very important to mention, by the way, it hasn't happened to me yet, but apparently if someone closes the door to this room behind you, there is literally no way to open the door from the inside, meaning in theory, you could trap players in there if you were feeling incredibly evil. But of course, I can't imagine imagine anyone ever doing such a terrible thing. Anywho, why don't we talk about the loot cheese real quick? Remember loot area number 1, which you got to via the door with yellow markings on it? If you go through that yellow door, but take an early right, you'll go down a big staircase, and at the bottom, you'll find an area that requires a special keycard to enter. The thing is, you don't technically need a keycard to get in there via the following cheese. On the very back wall, there should be a large structure that you can climb on top of. This will take patience and timing, but your goal is to sprint forward and tumble through the open window into the room. I would be amazed if you did this on the first try. It actually took me quite a while. Keep trying it though, and eventually you will get the right angle and you'll squeeze into the room. When you're done looting the area, you can open the door and get out, even if you don't have the key card. Whether you hit up the cheese area or you just stick to the 3 main areas, when you're ready to leave, just follow the blue line on the floor and head back out the way you came in. Again, RNG is always going to be a factor, but I almost always get great stuff from those runs, including very quality blueprints most of the time. Please give today's video a like and don't forget to subscribe. I've got more deeper guides on the way and some funny videos too if you're into that kind of thing. Thank you very much for watching. I'll see you next time.